Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Jen Zarco, and I'm here with my colleague. I'll let him introduce him in just a second, but we are here from Truckee Meadows Community College.
How's it going, everyone? My name is Heido. Thanks, Maria, for the awesome tech advice. And like Jen said, we're here from TMCC. So we're excited to present to you guys about preparing for college with our senior checklist.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is definitely more of a presentation about preparing students for college. So we are calling it a senior checklist. But if at any point you have any questions, need clarification, or want us to go over something that we aren't mentioning and you're curious about, please let us know. We want this to be more of a conversation, and we want you to leave with the idea that you can make plans now to go to college, or if you're in your senior year, we want you to be prepared with a lot of the tips that we have for you. So please chime in at any point. These are the topics that we are going to talk about in detail. So we just wanted to give you a preview of what they are. So selecting your options after high school, college applications and deadlines, test scores and documents, financial aid and scholarships. We know that's something that worries students the most when they're thinking about post-secondary education or life after high school. So we will go over some of the recommendations we have. Housing, if you plan to, leave home and go out of state, or if you want to live on campus here in state as well. Student services, student employment, and getting involved. So our first topic today is going to be education selection.
Alrighty. So when it comes to education selection, there's obviously many different avenues students can pursue straight out of high school, right? There's obviously they can go straight into a career, a job that they're choosing. We also have military. We have technical, vocational, and certification programs. There are many of those out there. We also have two-year colleges or associate degrees, which is similar to TMCC. At TMCC, we provide anywhere from certifications to associates to even bachelor's degrees. So there's a wide range in most community colleges like ours. And then we have a four-year college and also bachelor's degrees and secondary education. Following the little diagram we have here, you can see that straight out of high school, you can go to one of those, the ones I mentioned. If you choose to go to, let's say, a four-year school, right, like college, you can then pursue professional degrees after that, and graduate school, and even doctoral programs. If you choose a two-year college or community college with associate's degrees, you can go anywhere from a certificate of achievement, skill certificate like the ones we offer at TMCC, to even your associates within 2 years. Then transfer over to a four-year institution and finish off with a bachelor's. With most cases, a two-year college is a more affordable, more viable option for students. It's an avenue we definitely recommend students to look into and try to pursue. And the same thing with a four-year college. Once you graduate, after you go to a community college and graduate from a university, you can then attend graduate school, professional school. Obviously, with technical, vocational, and certification programs out there, you go straight into career. Same thing with military, you can go straight into a career. Or military does now pay for education as well. So if someone does choose to go into military, they can then pursue an education after that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So you have plenty of options after high school. Okay, you're not limited to just one. But we do want you to be mindful when making your selection for your plans after high school, and just when selecting a college or university. So we want you to think about, do I want to stay in state or do I want to go out of state, right? And there's pros and cons for you. We want you to make the right choice for you, not where your friend is going, not where your parents want you to go, but the right path for you. Do you feel like you need to stay in state because there's more financial aid here, or because you have more support here, or because you want to be closer to home or live with your family, right? Or do you want to go out of state? You want to go to another state, a college or university that you've always liked to go to? If that's the case, go visit it first. You don't want to be your first time on that campus when it's going to be your first day of school, right? You want to go check out the area, check out the campus, get a feel for where you'll be living, go see what your support services are going to be, not only at school, but in general where you're moving, right? One other thing is that some students don't look, they assume that all colleges and universities have the same career options, and that's not true. So you need to make sure that whichever institution you're choosing has the major and program that you want to study, right? Because you don't want to apply to a school that doesn't even have the option that you're looking for. So make sure that when you're looking into college or universities, you first look into what careers, majors, and programs they offer. Number 3, how much is tuition going to be? And why I'm saying this matters is because some colleges, although you want to go to them, you need to see, is it going to be possible for me to go there, right? So how much is their tuition? Do they have scholarships for you to fill out? Do they have ways to help you pay for that? Are they part of the Western Undergraduate Exchange where you can get in-state tuition even though you're going out of state? So do your research on what the cost is going to be and then assess. Is this a smart choice for me? Like I mentioned before, campus visits are very, very important. Go get a feel of the campus, okay, and the surrounding area. And then we really would like for you to do career exploration, especially in this time where a lot of technical programs are needed, because in our economy, we need more hands-on approach to the careers that are in need. So do some career exploration. Even if you've known since you were 3 years old that you want to be a nurse, look into it, see if that's exactly what you want to do. And if it is, great. If not, go look at other programs, just look them up, see what they offer. Sometimes we don't even know what they are because they have fancy names to them. So look them up, read about them, and then see if that's a good choice for you. Okay. This is also a really good choice for students who have no idea what they want to do. Go explore, go check it out. All right. And then our next category is college applications and deadlines.
So when it comes to applying for admissions to any place, we have to look at the requirements that that school, college, or university may have, right? So we can look at, say they have requirements for a GPA, test scores, be it the ACT, SAT, or they have their own placer within that school, letters of recommendation. When looking at all these, we see the requirements that they have. Along with that, they also have application fees. So it varies by school on the fees. There are schools that have the options to delay the payment till once students are admitted to the program and they're paying for classes. There are schools that have you pay upfront for the application, right? Like once you submit your application, you have to pay certain amount of money, $60, $30, whatever it may be. And there are schools who have waivers for students as well to waive that fee, so not paying for it. And the biggest thing to look at as well is application deadlines. This is super important because when application deadlines come up, it is very hard for someone to get into the school if they miss that deadline. Typically, depending on the school, students might have to wait a whole another year to apply or another semester to apply and miss out on that crucial first semester in the fall. So it's super important to keep an eye out on all these deadlines when it comes to these applications. And also important to please follow after these steps for after you apply, right? Always check your email. Biggest thing, schools always send emails right after you apply saying congrats, you applied. In our case here at TMCC, we send emails out to our students saying, hey, congrats, here's your student ID, here's your student password, your email, and so on and so forth. And it's super important information students need to keep somewhere where they can always go back and look at it, right? So it's super important to check these emails, save all important information needs to be saved. It's also important to look at the orientation the school may have. Now with the pandemic, schools have gone virtual. Like in TMC's case, we have our virtual orientation. Some schools have in-person orientation. So it's really important to look at their orientation as well, because it's one of the important steps students need to take when it comes to admissions into a school. Next is immunization. So having all your shot records in line, especially now with the new vaccine. I know that within the Nevada system of higher education, it is required to have the vaccine if you are in person. Obviously, there are certain exceptions as well, both religious and medical, or also if students are solely online. But it's important to make sure you have all that records in hand for the school, and also formally accepting admissions. There's some schools that require you to formally accept admissions, be it online, clicking yes, I accept, or submitting a form back to them saying yes, I accept. But it's important to look at that. And lastly, also sending your final transcript to the college, because at times students have college credit, be it through enrollment, AP testing, whatever it may be. And it's important for the students to get those credits, and that you get that done by sending your final transcript in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that Heido went over, what type of steps that other colleges and universities might have for their admission process. But at TMCC, we have 4 steps for our enrollment process. So steps to enroll, we call them. The first one's very simple, applying for admission. At TMCC specifically, we do not have any upfront fees. You get charged a $20 fee if and only if you end up attending TMCC. So there is nothing tying you to having to pay for applying. So it's always an option to apply to the college. And then if you decide not to go, then that's great. If you decide to go, then we welcome you and you will get further into the steps to enroll. You will also see that some colleges and universities, depending on what state, but in the state of Nevada, you do need to be vaccinated, the COVID-19 vaccination requirement. If you want to attend courses starting spring 2022, if you want to attend them in person. If you are going to take all online courses, then you do not have to be vaccinated, but if you will be taking even at least one course on campus in person, then you will be required to show proof of vaccination. So that's added to our steps to enroll. Step 3, you complete orientation. As Heido mentioned earlier, most colleges and universities will have an orientation of some sort. They'll welcome you to campus for a day, or they'll ask you to do it online, or whatever their process is. Process. One process is online, and it's just a series of reading through information, answering questions. And the second part is in person, meeting academic advisors so that they can help you select your courses. And number 4, you register for your courses, you enroll into them, and then we wait for payment. So whether that is scholarships, whether that's FAFSA, financial aid, or if you're going to pay out of pocket. But either way, the last step is paying for those courses.
Yep. Awesome. So common stumbling blocks for students when it comes to applying at a school are, say, for example, when it comes to application, it is making sure that students provide their full legal name like it is on their social, because that's how they're found when it comes to their financial aid with FAFSA, whatever it may be. Because you'll be surprised how many students we have that put in nicknames or put in abbreviations or whatever it may be, and then end up not being able to connect their financial aid to their accounts, or whatever miscommunication might happen when not having your full legal name. Next step is also having their social security correct on their applications, because you'd be surprised as well how many students did not provide the correct social security or missed a number or whatever it may be. And another big step is make sure that they are degree seeking when it comes to applying for a school. When it comes to being degree seeking, that's how they are eligible for financial aid. It is a common misstep that when students don't know what they are doing or what they want to pursue when it comes to college, they tend to put non-degree seeking, thinking that means that they're undecided, but really they're putting that they're not seeking a degree. So making sure that if they are undecided, to pursue the degree seeking but undecided option when it comes to looking for schools, and also just their birthday as well. When it comes to admissions, is making sure they submit their test scores and their high school transcripts. That's the biggest thing when it comes to admissions. FAFSA, who, what, where, when, and how, right? So I'm gonna have Jen talk a little more about FAFSA on this part for us.
Yeah, absolutely. So by now, hopefully, if you're a senior, you have heard about FAFSA. FAFSA is an acronym, and it stands for Free Application for federal student aid. And for the parents here, and just for everyone listening, it is definitely a team effort between the student and the parent. It is the application, the federal application that requires the students, if they have any, and the parents' income tax information to determine how much money the federal government can provide for the student to go to college. So a lot of parents say, well, what is the cutoff? What is the cutoff for my student to receive federal aid? And there's no exact number, no exact amount of income. They have to assess how much did the parent make, how many people in the household, of those people in the household, how many will be in college. They take a lot of things into consideration, and then they determine the amount that a student will have for college. Or they don't qualify for federal aid because they have determined that the income is too high to provide the student any financial aid. So then they provide the option for loans, but we will talk about that a little later, where honestly, there's so much free money out there that you shouldn't have to take out loans, and we'll show you how you can definitely apply for other assistance. But FAFSA is an application that you need to fill out and should fill out regardless of what institution you're going to attend, because every college and university will honor the FAFSA towards your financial aid. And if they don't, it's because it might be like a private college or like a beauty school that doesn't use it or anything like that.
Awesome. Thank you, Jen. So more common stumbling blocks for students are obviously their college login or their email information, making sure that their email is correct on file for the college, making sure they don't have a typo. That's how I always tell students. There's a two-step verification when it comes to emails for a reason. Do not just copy the first one you typed in and paste it to the bottom one. Make sure you type it, because sometimes we mistype. I've done it several times when I've done certain applications or whatever it may have been, and I mistyping it by one letter or by one number. And luckily with the two-step verification, it's like, okay, your email doesn't match. Oh, I saw, you know what? I typed too fast and I switched these letters around. So we tell students that it's very important for them to put the correct email and make sure they put in the correct email, because if they put in the wrong email, obviously the college has no way to reach out to the student and share information, important information, be it orientation or that acceptance letter or whatever it may have been. And also understanding the college platforms that they use within the college. For example, here at TMCC, we use Canvas for our online orientation. So making sure students understand those platforms so they are able to log in and actually perform the orientations that are required. Then also make sure they understand the college requirements. So access to, they say, holds or to-do lists. Certain students will have to-do lists when it comes to their application, saying, okay, you have to do verification for financial aid. You have to do, provide this information or that information or whatever it may be, and making sure students understand that these to-do lists need to be completed. The holds need to be removed for them to have access to being able to register for classes for the semester they're attending. And lastly, degree declaration, like I talked about earlier. If a student decides to declare that they're undeclared, it is super easy to do so. And if for whatever reason they're like, you know what, I want to pursue nursing or I want to pursue journalism or whatever it may be, there's always that change form that universities and colleges have for students to change their major. So it's definitely looking into the university or college website and making sure they can find that form. So whenever that day comes that they decide to change a major, they have access to it. I know I was really lucky to find where it was at. I changed my major 3 times when I was going to college. So it's super helpful having those forms.
Yeah, thank you, Heido. And you bring up a really good point that a lot of students think that the major they choose is set in stone, and that is not true, you guys. If you pick something when you first apply to a college and then later change your mind, that is perfectly fine. Most colleges will let you change your major. There'll be deadlines for when you have to do it by, but you can change it. And Heido changed this 3 times. I changed mine twice. It happens. It happens. You change your mind, you grow a little more, you start to learn a little more, and that's okay. All right. Now we're getting to the good stuff. So financial aid and scholarships. And if you have any questions so far, please put them in the chat. One of us will get to it and answer your questions, okay? Or you can let us know, just speak up, and we can definitely help you. But there are various types of financial aid when you're going to college after high school. So we talked about the FAFSA, and the FAFSA is pretty universal. So wherever college or university you go to, you can apply for the FAFSA. The FAFSA actually already opened October 1st, and it opens October 1st every year. For those of you who are seniors, you can definitely already start applying for the FAFSA. And the FAFSA is really good to fill out because out of the FAFSA, you get grants. And grants, so it'll be in the form of a Pell Grant when you get federal funding from FAFSA. And grants are like scholarships. You do not have to pay these back, okay? So if you get a Pell Grant from FAFSA, you do not have to pay it back. It's not a loan. It's money that they have determined that you need to go to college. Also, when you fill out the FAFSA, it's going to ask you if you want to be considered for work study. You always want to mark yes on that question, because work study is extra money aside from the money that they're going to give you to pay towards your courses and tuition. Work study funds can be used if you want a job on campus. Okay, so if you want to work on campus and get a legitimate paycheck from working on campus, FAFSA gives you a certain amount of money so that the employer at that campus can use that money towards paying you, because a lot of departments may not have full funding to hire students. FAFSA helps the employer, with a little bit of money to help pay you. So you get a paycheck, right? And then the department in turn, if you have work study, can use that work study funding to pay towards your hourly wage. But we'll talk about jobs on campus, but they're amazing and you should really look into them, whichever institution you go to. The last thing that will come out of filling out a FAFSA are loans. So if you don't qualify for Pell Grants, they will more than likely recommend loans for you, and you do not have to accept them, but they will be there in case you need them. Okay, so those are the three things that will come out from filling out a FAFSA: grants, work study, and loans. Okay. And then we did talk about the FAFSA, but there's going to be FAFSA.com, and that is one that you do not want to visit. That is the wrong website. FAFSA.com will lead you to filling out the FAFSA. However, they're going to charge you. Okay. And you shouldn't pay for something that literally has the word free in the acronym. So it stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid, and it can be found at FAFSA.gov. Okay, that is the correct website, FAFSA.gov, and it is completely free. You do not have to pay to submit it. If you are a current senior and you are going to use tax forms from the year 2020. So when you're talking to your parents and they're going to help you, and if you file taxes yourself for the year 2020, those are the ones that you're going to use to fill out this current year's FAFSA if you're a senior. And that's going to help funding for fall 2022 and spring 2023. Okay, so they're always using tax forms from 2 years prior. So it's called prior. So for the school year 2020 to 2023, they want your 2020 tax forms. Okay. If you need help filling out the FAFSA, doesn't matter if you are going to attend TMCC or not. If you need help, TMCC's financial aid office can help you submit the FAFSA. They are open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Okay, so make sure that you get connected with someone who can help you if you do need assistance filling out the FAFSA.
Alrighty, so scholarships, right? The biggest thing here. So for students who don't qualify for FAFSA, be it for whatever reason it may be, there's different types of scholarships all around the world. I can literally say that. Like Jen said, you should not be paying for school. You should be getting, even I can say, getting paid to go to school. We have so many student stories where students apply for so many scholarships and get so much money to go to school, where they get money back and get to keep that money, since it's money that's either come to grants or scholarships, and whatever it may be, they get to keep that money. So there are different forms of scholarships, right? There's institutional scholarships. Like at TMCC, we have our own institutional scholarships. Within that, we have our Nevada Promise Scholarship that helps students basically get very reduced tuition. Not say like not doesn't cover like books and certain like distance learning fees, but it does cover the rest of students' tuition. There are other scholarships outside, right? Outside scholarships, like in the community. Let's say like here in Reno, we have the Ronald McDonald House Charity Scholarship. We have the Jiffy Lube Scholarship as well, where students can literally just apply, write a quick essay and whatever it may be, and submit that and then get this free money. There's so much money out there that's for free for students to do. There are private scholarships students can apply for. There are academic scholarships, need-based scholarships, athletic scholarships, and even if there are students who are working or whose parents work for certain companies, employers also provide scholarships as well. I know there's a handful of employers that will provide scholarships. And here we've listed a couple of websites where you can go in and see certain scholarships in different categories, like scholarships.com, Scholarship Owl. We have check.com/scholarships and fastweb.com. And the biggest thing with all these is you should never be paying for a scholarship. Like Jen said, I've heard stories where people use fastweb.com and end up paying like $3,000, $4,000 to fill out the FAFSA when it's free. You shouldn't be paying for any type of scholarship. If any type of scholarship asks for your fee or payment, exit out, do not apply. All scholarships are free. They're giving out free money to students to go to school for whatever reason it may be it it's a company, an organization, charity, whatever it may be. They always give scholarships for free, and you should not be paying for any type of scholarship.
Yes, absolutely. And then lastly, because it is an option and it is a viable option if anyone should need it, we are going to talk about loans. So there's different types of loans. So there's private loans. You can go through a bank or credit union and ask for a loan there. Basically, those come with interest, and they can be used over a long period of time if you would like to, and then you just set up on their terms when you need to pay it back. They're short-term loans, and those would be like kind of like our dollar loan center type of place where you can go in for a short-term loan. They're going to tell you, okay, next month you owe it back, or whatever the case may be. Federal loans, this is what comes out of like the FAFSA situation. So they will ask you if you want to take out a subsidized loan, which means that those don't incur interest until after you graduate, right? So they don't start accumulating any interest until after you graduate, and then unsubsidized do accrue interest while you're still in school. So you can make the choice there on which one you would like to take out. And then because it's a loan, this type of financial aid does need to be paid back at some point. But like Heido mentioned before in the slide before, there are so many scholarships available to you that you should not have a problem paying for college. And this is where your support network comes in, right? Those relationships you built through high school, where you can ask them for letters of recommendation, where point you to different resources. This is where your favorite teachers and your counselors can help you, can help vouch for you, and they can write you amazing references. So use your support network. Another thing is, a student told me last week, well, I don't apply for scholarships because I probably won't get it. You wouldn't believe how many people say that, and then no one ends up applying, and they'll contact us to see if we have someone they could just give it out to because no one applied to. But you cannot be that person. You go ahead and apply. Whether you think you're going to get it or not, go for it. The worst that can happen is you just don't get it. But what if you do? Right? So please make sure you're applying.
Yep, you'll be so surprised. One year I had a student apply for a scholarship that she just applied for any random scholarship she could find. And she ended up applying for, it was a scholarship for an African American quartet group. So basically, the requirements were they had to be African American and you had to have a singing major. So my student actually was none of those. She was seeking biology and she was a Latin student, correct? So they actually ended up giving her $400 because no one had applied for that scholarship. And she did not meet any of the qualifications, but yet they gave her that money because they saw that she had put the effort in to apply when no one else applied. So you'd be surprised how much money there is out there for students to have, and it's all free. It's outrageous how much money is just sitting there that people just want to give out for free for students to go to, but students end up not applying for it. I've talked to so many organizations and different scholarship providers saying, "Hey, yeah, we only gave out half of the money we had this year because no one else applied." So it's super important students apply, making sure they have an essay written beforehand. I like to tell students to write up an essay, right, about themselves, why they want to go to school, whatever it may be, and have this draft written. So whenever they apply for scholarships, they can just fill in whatever they need to fill in for the scholarships requirements, and then submit it to them, and hopefully get that money back, so they're not taking out these loans, because no student should be taking out loans to go to school because there's so much free money. This is something I wish I knew when I was going to school. Luckily, I didn't take out a lot of money out in loans, but there is so much money out there students can apply for and get.
Yeah, absolutely. And I forgot to mention earlier that if you do get awarded a Pell Grant through FAFSA, it only goes towards your tuition. So you should apply for scholarships to help you pay for books and any other expenses, that comes with being a successful student. Food, supplies, gas for your car to get to school. So think about that. Apply for scholarships for extra funding for your other necessities as a student, okay?
Yeah, once I was in school, I was junior year, I got to apply for a scholarship that really no one applied for, and I got enough money to buy a MacBook for school and have it, and it was super useful. So it's super important students do this.
Yeah, that's so awesome. Yeah, so you can get fancy things like, and those things help you. Those things help you be successful. I mean, typing out, papers and taking notes in class and stuff like that. So think about what it takes to be a successful student, and, make sure that you are secure and filling out those applications. Next, we're going to talk about housing. So there's options after high school too. Do I want to live with my parents? Do I want to live out on my own? Do I want to move out of state and live in an apartment, have a roommate, whatever it is that you want to do, there's options for that. But we are going to talk about housing options and types of housing. I'll just tell you that at TMCC in general, for us, we do not have dorms. But we live around a lot of apartment structures and rented homes. So what happens, because we are so close, we're 5 miles away from UNR, well, a lot of the times UNR and TMCC students end up living together in a roommate situation. So, or just in general, there's always we have a bulletin board with people seeking like roommates or whatever the case may be. So we don't have dorms, but we do have areas around our campus where you can live if you choose to do that. So, but at other colleges and universities, they will have dorms, and basically there's all types. So there's types where it has a curfew. There's types where, it's only males, only females, co-ed, whatever the case may be. Every university that offers dorms will offer you the opportunity to choose. Do I want a room to myself? Do I want a roommate? Do I want a dorm that comes with a meal plan? The possibilities are endless. So if that's something that you can add to your expenses as a student going to school, and you want to experience, life on campus, it does have its pros, because you could be sleeping and wake up and walk straight to class, right? Or have that full experience, be immersed in the college experience, which is also really cool. So just think about what you want to do with your experience, and if your college or university even offers dorms. Then there's off-campus housing. So you can live with your parents, you can live in an apartment, third-party student housing. So it depends what the college or university offers around you. Like I said, at TMCC, there's a bunch of apartments and rented homes. So wherever you're going to go to college or whatever institution you want to go to, just make sure that you understand beforehand what type of housing options they have. And just some things to keep in mind when we're talking about housing. So housing expenses. Is it just the rent and then utilities on the side? Is it all included? Does it come with a meal plan? Do you have to buy your own groceries? These are things that you need to know so that you can see if it's going to be a good option for you and if it's going to be a viable option for you, right? You want to stay within your means and make sure that you will be able to pay for this and for it to be a good fit for you. Location, do you like where you're going to live? Do you feel safe around that area? If it's on campus, you want to choose, a living situation where it's going to work for you. So if it has a curfew, making sure that you're going to be responsible in meeting those curfews and all of that good stuff. So making sure that the location and everything's good to go. I kind of pointed this out already with amenities, but just making sure you know what is offered for you beforehand so you're not surprised later. Oh, I thought it came with a meal plan, and all of a sudden you find out you're on your own basically. So make sure that you know what you're getting into before you sign anything. And as new adults, it's kind of hard, right? Because now we have to be on our own and make our own decisions. So make sure you read the fine print, make sure that you know exactly what you're choosing and what you want and what you need, okay? Some of them come furnished, some of them do not. So do I need to bring my own bed? Do I need to bring, my own tables, desks? Some of them already have that. Some literally will give you an empty room. So making sure that you know that ahead of time. Living arrangement. Do you want a roommate? Sometimes they choose them for you. Sometimes you can put your likes and dislikes and preferences, and they try to match you as best as possible. So just noting that if you're going to move into a dorm that does, like a roommate situation, that you're prepared to live with someone else. Or if you want to be on your own, those rooms usually cost a little bit more. But if that's what you prefer, then you need to make sure that you put in for a dorm that is going to be on your own. And then parking, sometimes there's parking included where you will have a nice little parking garage spot. And sometimes it's like, well, park wherever you can, right? So make sure that you know what's going on with the parking situation if you're going to be driving to campus and all that good stuff. And then, like I mentioned earlier, just included meals or not. So there's plenty of options with housing when you go. It depends on the college and university and what they offer. Okay.
Great.
Yeah. Next is student services.
Yep. So there are so many different types of student services when it comes to going to a university or a college, and they do vary between college and universities. But main ones that we want to go through are, let's say, academic advising. Every college university will have an academic advisor for students to meet with, to sit down and go through what classes they need to take to fulfill their major requirements, what classes they need to take to fulfill the prerequisites for the college, because each college has different prerequisites. English, math, social sciences, environmental sciences. Really, it depends on the college. But academic advisors will help with that. We have counseling services. Counseling services at TMCC is provided completely free to students, and most colleges it is as well. Just for students to talk to someone, because college is stressful. College it's very intense, very different than being at home with parent, guardian, and then going to high school, coming back and getting told by your teachers, hey, you need to do this homework, you need to do that homework. And then college is very stressful and it's a lot to take in. So sometimes it's important to have someone just to talk to. Also, tutoring services. Tutoring services are very important for students because when you're struggling with a class, when you're struggling with high level algebra, calculus, or whatever it may be, or statistics, or even any science class, psychology, biology, chemistry, tutoring is always there to help. Financial aid office, obviously, to help you with doing your FAFSA, like Jen said at TMCC, they can definitely help you apply for your FAFSA, be it regardless if you come to TMC or not. A disability resource center for any type of accommodation students may need when it comes to college experience, right? For any test anxiety, anything in that nature, that's what a disability resource center is there for. A career center for students to be able to actually go in and sit down and write a resume. A lot of students don't know what it's like to write a resume. That's why it's important to have these career centers there for students to get the experience to write out a resume, a cover letter, and sit down with what the actual process looks like to be in an interview for a job. I know when I first went to college, I had no clue what interviews were like. I didn't know I had to sit down in front of people and talk to them and tell them, answer all their questions or present on a certain topic. Like I had no clue that was going to happen. But with Career Studio, I learned all that. A student government association. So just like in high school, there's a lot of us students who participate in leadership. We have that at certain colleges as well. I know at TMCC we have it, and other colleges around us. A student center, somewhere where students can just go and hang out. After a long day in classes, I know it's always nice to go somewhere and just hang out and be around other students who, just to get able to talk to, make new friends and network and gain those experiences. A library for students go study and do homework. I know I basically lived out of our library when I was going to school because that's where I stayed. That was my quiet place because I knew at home I wouldn't do any work. So I had to be stuck in the library doing work all day. Obviously dining as well, be it within the dining halls at the school or any restaurants that are on campus. Making sure they have a bookstore and making sure they can go in, buy your books, buy your calculators, your accessories you may need for class, lab coats, goggles, whatever it may be. And one of my favorites is the gym. I know one of my biggest ways to de-stress is working out. And I always really looked at the gym and see how the gym looked. So it's definitely important to look at these resources that schools have.
Yeah, absolutely. And then going along with what Heido said, just the services and programs that we offer at TMCC, we have the Jumpstart program. So for those of you who are familiar, you can take dual credits. So basically, college classes that count for both high school and college at the same time. So if you're a current senior, the last time that you can take dual credit is in the spring semester before you graduate. But if you are a freshman, sophomore, junior, you still have time to take some dual credit classes if you would like. And the process for that is you just go talk to your counselor and they'll let you know which classes qualify for you to swap out for a college class. And also if you meet the GPA requirement to take the courses, okay? For my current seniors, we have the Success First Summer Bridge program that you can participate in summer 2022. And basically with this program, you get 2 free college courses. So we pay for everything, the 2 courses, the textbooks, the materials, food for the 6 weeks that you're on campus. And then if you successfully pass those courses in the summer, you will get an $800 scholarship towards your first year at TMCC. And that application for that program opens November 1st. We only accept 125 students a year, so it's definitely first come, first serve. But if you are definitely going to attend TMCC, this is one of the programs that you should participate in because it does help you build those connections on the campus. Heido mentioned earlier the Nevada Promise Scholarship. For those of you who are seniors right now, if you want to apply for Nevada Promise, the application deadline is this Sunday, October 31st. And this is pretty much similar to a full ride at TMCC for up to 3 years. The only thing it won't cover are mandatory or lab fees. But it covers all mandatory tuition fees. Okay, so it pays for almost your full tuition for up to 3 years. So if you want more information about that, when we're done, we can share the links to those for you to apply to. We have a disability resource center that you can use at any point in time. And this doesn't mean just like a learning disability or anything like that. This could be like, oh, I broke my arm mid-semester and I need accommodations in my classrooms, or I broke my leg, or, whatever the case may be, the Disability Resource Center can help you with a lot of accommodations. Or if you want an assessment because you might think that you need accommodations, they can also do those as well. We have academic advisors, which Heido mentioned earlier, will help you choose your courses every semester. Our amazing counseling department that can help with test anxiety or pretty much anything that you might be going through and you just need a minute, or you know, if you want to de-stress or do some activities with them, they're wonderful at that. Tutoring for pretty much every subject, and it is free. So I suggest that you use it at every institution that you go to. Use tutoring. It is very, very effective. Financial aid office, of course, every institution will have one, and our career center is amazing. And then our equity, inclusion, and sustainability office is really cool. It's one of our best places on campus. I think it's one of the coolest places. We have a meditation room there. We also have space for you to mingle with other students or study. And they have like state-of-the-art stuff for you to help you study and find it a comfortable place to be. So those are the services and programs that we offer at TMCC to help you be a successful student. And wherever you go to college, make sure that you're looking into the support services to help you be successful. I did talk about this earlier, the Success for Summer Bridge program, and I'll go through the program. So like I said, if you're a current senior, this application opens November 1st and you get 2 free courses. It's one of our best programs. It's been going on for 13 years now, and it's helping 125 students a year just go through the college experience before they even become freshmen in the fall. So you'll already know someone from every department. You're already going to be well connected. Summer Bridge students get priority for jobs on campus. We pretty much hook you up with all the support services we have. So you're not going to have trouble there. And then you get assigned a success coach to pretty much help you be successful throughout the whole time that you're at TMCC. So if you are going to go to TMCC for sure and you're a senior, I would definitely recommend applying for Success First once the application opens. Okay. And then Jumpstart Dual Credit, like I said, it's a way for you to earn high school and college credit at the very same time. And it just depends on which classes you're swapping out. Most students will swap out like an English course. So it counts for 3 credits of English for college and then 1 full credit for English in high school, and you get that done in 15 weeks. Okay, so our semesters are about 15 to 16 weeks long, and that's how long it would take for you to earn those credits. And then you can take the class online or in person, depending. Okay, the vaccine mandate does count for dual credit students as well. Just so you know, if you're trying to take dual credit, you do have to be vaccinated if you're going to take it in person. And then Nevada Promise, like I mentioned, yeah, the application deadline is October 31st. This is a state deadline, so it is very strict. Okay, this is not just a TMCC deadline, it's a overall state deadline. So once you miss that deadline, you cannot go back and apply later. So even if you don't know if you're going to go to TMCC or not, but you're maybe thinking about it, I would recommend that you submit the application just so that you're in the running for the scholarship. And then later on, if you applied and then you don't end up going to TMCC, nothing happens. You just will know that you're not going to go there, and that's okay. And we'll just put your application to the side. But you want to have that option of, using the Nevada Promise Scholarship. And it is a last dollar scholarship. So anything that you receive from FAFSA, a Pell Grant, will kick in towards your tuition first. Then if you're eligible for the Millennium Scholarship, that will kick in second. And then any remaining balance will be taken care of by Nevada Promise. Okay. So this would benefit students who don't qualify for a Pell Grant, because then they'd have their full tuition still not paid for, if that makes sense. Okay. So really think about it. No matter what situation you're in, whether you're going to receive Pell, you're not going to receive Pell, you don't know, apply for Nevada Promise if you are thinking of attending TMCC.
And it's super important. Like we tell students, it's better to not need it and have it than not have it. So it's super important students apply, even if they don't know what they're going to do. It's always good to have some type of backup. And next, we're going to talk about student employment. So there are so many benefits when it comes to student employment. And one of the biggest things we recommend students is when they're filling out their FAFSA to make sure they mark for work study. That way they can get jobs on campus a lot easier. And the benefits that come from having student employment is obviously the first one is being their schedule goes around their courses. So they work around their classes. So that whenever they have a class, the campus job will make sure their schedule doesn't interfere with their classes. Because what's first always when it comes to work on campus is their schooling. Schooling's always first, no matter where it is, be it a test, be it a class. We students are not be required to go to work or attend work while they have class. Next is they're super close to their classes. The proximity to their courses, they're like right next to their classes. Like I know for our students who work with us in our office, they literally have to go maybe downstairs to second floor to go to a class, or maybe to the building over. So instead of having to go to work across town and then having to drive back to come to class, like they're right there. They save a lot of money when it comes to transportation, especially now with gas being so expensive. Students get saved so much money. I know when I was a student and worker, it was super beneficial because I tried it my first semester where I was working off campus and then going to class and all the going back and forth. I was like, I can't do this. I'm wasting time and way too much gas. So I got a job on campus and I was able to save so much money and time just being on campus for work and school. They get to learn various soft and hard skills within their employment. I know within my job as a student worker, I learned a lot of professionalism, a lot of skills that help me now as a professional at TMCC. They get a lot of peer interaction. They get to be more on campus, get to interact more with their own peers on campus, and even get to network a lot more. They have a lot more opportunities to network within campus, right? As student workers, they get to know maybe the people from financial aid, advisors from advising, even to a point where they can get to know the president of the college or the vice president. I know for me as a student worker, I got to meet the president of my college and the vice president of my college. And super cool experience to meet them and actually just get to be known by my name by someone who is in charge of the whole college. And the biggest thing as well as flexibility. A lot of these on-campus jobs are super flexible for students. If students for whatever reason can't go on campus and have virtual classes, some jobs will allow students to work virtually from home. So it's super flexible for students the super flexible option for students to pursue.
Definitely. And lastly, we want to talk to you about getting involved. We want you to know about this concept known as the sticky campus. So we love when students stay on campus. We hate when they go parking lot, class, parking lot, right? We want you to stay and see what we have to offer because college should be fun. I know I had a blast. They were the best years of my life, honestly. So we want you to attend student socials, get to know other students. There's students from all over the world. There's international students. There's students of all ages, of all backgrounds. Get to know people, get immersed in the college experience. You can attend workshops. There's so many things that you can learn about how to budget effectively, how to plan for your future, how to network. Like Heido said, he had no idea how to interview. There's workshops for that. We can prepare you for that working life after college and in general, just any workshops that they offer that are of interest to you or you want to just do some professional development. We always have workshops that we offer at every campus. Taking advantage of your free resources. This is a big one. Like we said earlier, tutoring is free, getting help with resumes is free, getting help with interview skills is free. All of these free resources should not go wasted. Some campuses even offer you healthcare already embedded into your tuition. Go use it. You already paid for it, whether you know that or not. Go use the student health center. Go use the gym. Sometimes they embed that into your tuition and you won't step foot into that gym. Go use it. Go use your resources, whether they're free or you already pay for them in your tuition, but take advantage of them. Get a job on campus. All of us that are professionals now and working, professional jobs started out as student employees. and I wouldn't change it for the world. I learned so much, so many skills. I mean, not just like hard skills, like, you know, using a copy machine, doing phone calls, doing presentations, but, you know, soft skills too. And like those things that no one can teach you, like work ethic, responsibility, you know, accountability. It helped with my confidence. It just really helped me be a more prepared student. And I was working on campus, so I didn't have to worry about, you know, like Kaido said, driving across town and being in a hurry, or feeling bad if I called in because I needed to study. We understand that you're student workers, and student comes first, right? If you're not successful academically, you cannot work on campus. So we understand that your grades need to be good, and we will always give you the time to be a student and go and study and do your homework. So please look into jobs on campus, okay? Join study groups. I don't know why students don't do this more often, but join study groups, study together. Some people might know stuff that you don't capture. We all study differently. We all capture different things from the classes. It's good to see what other people know and do information sharing. So we really recommend study groups. This one, I feel like it's the biggest one, and students rarely do it. Talk to your instructors and visit them during office hours. A lot of students are intimidated. They're like, that's my professor or instructor, and no, I'm not going to ask him questions. I don't want to ask questions in class. Please do so. Go see them. They will respect you so much more for that. They are there for a reason. They have office hours for a reason. They want to help you. Please ask for help. That's one thing. If I could go back and talk to my 18, 19-year-old self, I would tell her, ask for help, because I was one of those that hesitated, and I struggled because I just wouldn't ask, right? So, but once I learned the art of asking for help, my life became so much easier, and it wasn't intimidating. It was like, okay, they're there to help me. And then join clubs and organizations. Every institution will have the option for you to join clubs and organizations, and it's stuff that you will love. Like if you're interested in gaming, there's the gaming club. If you're interested in crafting, they have the crafting club. So you just got to find what you're interested in, and you'd be surprised how many other students are interested in the same thing. Okay, so just get involved, stay on campus, enjoy the process. Yes, it's hard, but you can make it so fun. You can make it so fun, and it's supposed to be, okay? It's supposed to be the best years of your life while you're learning and growing as an individual. So get involved and stay on campus for sure.
It's super important students get involved, because studies have shown that students who are more involved on campus tend to succeed more. And like Jen was saying, I think it's super important for students to talk to the professors. They're the ones that are there to help you. They're the ones who are in your classes teaching you every day. You'd be surprised how maybe simple "hi, my name is Heidel" can really benefit you in class. Because there's that moment where that final grade comes and you're sitting at a 89.4, right? And I had this happen to me where I had introduced myself to my professor, I had talked to my professor, and I had asked questions when I had questions, and I end up getting, you know, like B plus, but my professor bumped me up to an A, because they knew that I worked hard and actually put the effort in just by talking to them and asking questions, compared to some other student who maybe never said anything and just stayed quiet and they didn't care to talk to the professor. So that's why it's super important to talk to professors and get to know them. And you know, we're not saying become best friends with professor unless you really want to, but you know, it just getting to say like a simple "hi, and my name is so and such, and I'm super excited for the class and super excited to learn," you know, and asking questions when questions do come up, because there's never such thing as a dumb question. And never be afraid to talk to a professor. You don't have to speak up during class, but just go into the office hours and saying, "Hey, like, I understand this class, this lecture, like, you go in more in depth for me because I just really didn't get it."
Yeah, absolutely. We want to know what your questions are. What are your questions? What can we go over with you? Yeah, what can we help you with?
Yeah, do you have any questions, concerns? It doesn't have to be about TMCC specifically, but just college in general, right? Anything that may fall in line.
Yeah. can either put them in the chat or you can unmute yourself and go ahead and ask, okay? Like I said earlier, we want this to be more of a conversation. The typical stumbling blocks for new freshmen, like in college freshmen. Okay, yeah, that is a great question. Thank you for asking that, Rob. So we can go back and forth, Heido, but I think one of the things that we notice, because I work with college freshmen, you know, one-on-one. I have a cohort of about 125 students every year. And what I see more often than anything is them not letting us know they're struggling if they are, right? The first year of college is one of the toughest years. This is where, you know, you determine if what you're doing is working for you or if it's not. And one of the things that we talk a lot about with my students is the procrastination, right? The waiting to do assignments in college is not the same as in high school. You will not get extra credit in college. You will not have the option to turn in late assignments unless your instructor's okay with it. So one of the things that we talk about the most is time management. How are we spending our time, right? So we talk about time management skills and how to combat them. And we talk about, you know, effective ways to kind of see, okay, am I working too much? Should I lower my hours? So definitely letting someone know right away, I'm struggling, this is why, and I need help with it. What do you think, Heido?
I definitely agree with you, Jen. I think a lot of it comes down to time management. Students are typically used to being in high school, you know, and getting told by their math professor, "Hey, Heido, you didn't turn in the stats homework from last week. Why didn't you turn it in? You can still turn it in to me and get full credit or half credit, or whatever it may be." And students don't understand that in college, it's really not like that. Professors get paid if students show up or don't show up. And it's super important students stay on top of that and managing their time and going to class. Because students tend to, you know, for whatever reason, oh, I worked and I forgot I had class and I didn't go to class today. And making sure they manage their time to be in class, because no one's going to tell them, hey, you have class. Hey, this assignment was due. Hey, this is due. You know, it's really on student themselves. That's a big stumbling block students come across when it comes to their first year, is not knowing that transition from high school to college. Because when it comes to college, there's a lot more responsibility on the student to be able to manage their time, be able to turn assignments when they're due, because there's not going to be a lot of hand holding like there is when it comes to college, high school.
Yeah, and on that note, another stumbling block is like for our freshmen, assuming that their parents can help them as far as like calling departments or stuff like that. And what I mean by that too is like a parent will call, and if they're not on our third party list for that student, we can't even give them any information about or help them, right? So making sure the student understands this is your responsibility, right? But knowing that you can ask for that help. Because in college, they're not going to call if you're absent. There's not going to be a call to your parents that you're absent, or you didn't do your homework. There's not going to be a reminder. Yes, it is very independent, but you don't have to do it alone, because there are services on campus and people working. Their actual job is to help you through that. You just have to go seek that help. So all the stumbling blocks come down to asking for help in every single way, shape, and form.
Yep, definitely. And I think another one is definitely reading their class syllabus. You'd be surprised how many things students tend to miss when first come to college, when they're handed this paper saying, okay, this is the syllabus for the class, make sure you read it, and then end up just not reading it and skipping over it. And there is always important information that professors write up their syllabuses for a reason. It's not just to, like put it in the binder and forget about it. It's for actually to look through it So definitely keep an eye on syllabus. But like Jen said, I definitely agree. It's always asking for that help because there are people on campus whose their job is just to help students out, to mentor them, to help them make sure they're, filling all the requirements the class has, and make sure they're attending class as well.
Yeah, a great question, Rob. Does anyone have any questions, other questions that we can help with?
Please, any questions, do not hesitate to give us
Yes.
help in any way we can.